Yo, what up, YouTube Zero? Merry Christmas, everyone, and I hope everyone's having a great Christmas time. I hope everyone opened their presents already. I hope everyone ate their breakfast. Hope everyone's satisfied with what they had, and most importantly, I hope everyone is satisfied with the games that came out this year. This is actually the last video that I'm making for 2012, and I wanted to discuss the games that I think are the best that I've played. Now, there's a couple of rules in here that I want to throw in. Like, there's a couple of games such as Mass Effect 3, Darksiders 2. You know, those games I didn't beat, so I decided to exclude them from the list because I didn't play enough of them to give them a proper judgment. Darksiders 2 I probably played maybe like an hour, and then I didn't even save. I went ahead and turned it right off, so mind you, I didn't beat the first one. I know it's totally unacceptable, but I wanted to give that one a fair shot, maybe in 2013 during off season, maybe during the summer or something like that. Mass Effect 3, if you guys know, I bought the PlayStation 3 version because my Xbox was dead at the time, so I actually just ordered that, 15 bucks, brand new, so it actually came in today, which is awesome. Alright guys, so here you go. Number 10. Now, a lot of guys are wondering why is this game on my top 10 list in 2012. And there's one reason and one reason alone, and that is multiplayer. The multiplayer in this game, not only is the online smooth, but it is ferocious. I love how open the levels are. Some people even say that this is the worst Twisted Metal game. I totally disagree. I think it's one of the best games that I've played in the series, next to Twisted Metal 2 and Black. Obviously not better than those two, but I still think that it is one of the best in the series. So I highly recommend getting this game if you guys haven't bought it already. I'm not sure how many people are still playing it online, but I guarantee you this, if you play the online and leave the single player as an afterthought, I can guarantee you that this game is going to be a lot of fun. And this game does deliver a single player, but a lot of fans say that because it only has about 3 or 4 characters, it's rather disappointing. So get this game for the multiplayer and the multiplayer alone, and you won't be disappointed. Now, a lot of guys are saying, Zero, man, come on, Twisted Metal, that's totally unacceptable, but I can guarantee you guys that is one of the best games that I've played this year, especially one of the best multiplayer games. I've played that game more than Halo 4 and more than Call of Duty Black Ops 2, which is rather strange, I know. Maybe I need to get shot for that one, but I really did enjoy it quite a bit. Now, my number 9 game is actually a handheld game, and it's actually part of a series, a long-running series that, when you compare it to its console counterpart that came out this year as well for the Xbox 360 and PS3, it destroys it in every aspect, which is rather strange, and I'm talking about Resident Evil Revelations. Now, Resident Evil Revelations is a game where it tried to be more like the old-school Resident Evil games. Now, anyone who's played the game knows that that is not true. There's actually idiots out there who still say that the game is more like the old school Resident Evil game. I guess when you compare it to 5 and 6, that is true. It's more like it. It's closest to the older games. But when you compare it to the old school games like Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, Code Veronica, and even 4, it's nothing like these games. It doesn't have that much puzzle solving. Still a lot of action and weapon upgrading. Has a very weird story, which I don't even know, honestly. I've actually watched the cutscenes. It tried to deliver like some episodic content to you guys, even though it wasn't downloadable. Every level or every chapter seemed like it was an episode, which is awesome to me. I actually think that the only game that did it right outside of this one is Asura's Wrath. And this is a game, guys, where I highly suggest you get. It's really fun. It has a co-op mode called Raid. The campaign, the single-player campaign is about 20 hours long. You won't be disappointed. Highly suggest you get it. I think you could even buy it for about 20 bucks now. I believe it actually went down in price. So, Resident Evil Revelations is a definite must if you own a 3DS. Now this game, guys, I mean, it's just so much fun. It destroys Resident Evil 6 in every single way. And if you have a 3DS, whether it's an XL or a regular, definitely pick this game up. Speaking of episodic-like content, my number 8 game is a game where a lot of people either didn't play because they were scared after playing the demo, or they just don't like the way the game played. And they actually missed out on a great game, a great title, great story, amazing boss battles, and I'm talking about Asura's Wrath. Now this game plays nothing like any game that you've played in the past. Okay, maybe I'm lying here, but it does borrow a lot of aspects and mechanics from other games. There's a part in the game where you're flying, and it actually turns into an on-rail shooter. You can say that it's a lot like Space Harrier for the Sega Genesis, Panzer Dragoon Orta for the original Xbox, Sin and Punishment 1 for the N64, even Sin and Punishment 2 for the Wii. It turns into an on-rail shooter, and the boss battles plays a lot like Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. In fact, this is the same developer of those Naruto games, CyberConnect 2. Now, this game, its strength lies within the story. I want to say that the game is actually 70% story, 30% gameplay, and I know that does turn off a lot of gamers, and it will turn you off more when I say that the gameplay portions of this game, although it borrows from games like Panzer Dragoon or Naruto, compared to those other counterparts, it actually doesn't do it as well. The fighting mechanics, they're not great. There's no leveling system, so there's no sense of progression in the game. A lot of the times, especially if you're anxious to actually play the game, you're going to be wondering when this cutscene is going to end or when the next gameplay portion is actually going to begin. I wouldn't recommend the game if it isn't great. And if you're a fan of fight anime such as Naruto, Bleach, or One Piece, aka the Big Three, or even Yu Yu Hakusho, or hell, the biggest inspiration where this game draws from is Dragon Ball Z. If you're a fan of Dragon Ball Z, you need to play this game, especially now at its reduced price. I believe it's about $30–40 now. You wouldn't go wrong. The story is so amazing. I want to say this is almost like sitting through an entire box set of an anime, about 24 to 26 episode anime, because it does run about 6 to 7 hours long. And I know that is rather short, but I can guarantee you that the experience that you have with this game is just amazing. You definitely wouldn't regret it. Now, Azura's Wrath is one of those games where I know there's never going to be a sequel. Maybe if we're lucky, he'll be introduced in a Versus game, such as Marvel vs. Capcom 4, which I don't know when that's going to come out, maybe another 10 years. But I can guarantee you that this game is just the story. And I know a game is supposed to be about gameplay, but you would not be disappointed with this game. Pick it up if you can. Now, my number 7 game is a game where I know no one here has played. I want to say if you did play it, you're probably within the minority, but I'll say this much, this game is awesome. Binary Domain. There has been nothing Terminator related that has been great after Terminator 2. Every game has been crap, every movie has been crap, and the series, although it was pretty good at the end, it was crap. I know, flame me. But Binary Domain takes that inspiration of Terminator and it does so much more with it. Hell, I'll even say that the story surpasses Terminator. This game will not disappoint you because it is the developer of the Yakuza series. And the Yakuza series has an insane story just like this game. As you're shooting away at these robotic beings, you're seeing their mechanical limbs get torn apart entirely. It is so awesome shooting through these guys and just seeing them get physically torn apart. It is one of the aspects of this game which makes the shooting so satisfying. And that actually goes for the bosses as well. Now, this is one of those games where I know we're not getting a sequel, but when you do beat the game, it does have a great closure. And it doesn't have that to be continued crap. And yes, I'm talking to you two humans. So, definitely get this game. It's about $20 now, man. It is a crime to not have beaten this game and experienced the amazing single-player campaign. Who would have thought that a Japanese developer whose track record is creating beat-em-up games would create such a great third-person shooter? And guys, again, $20–30, you can't go wrong with this game. You won't be disappointed, but I'm not going to recommend a piece of garbage to you guys. And you know what? It is available on the PlayStation 3, and it does run as great as the 360, so definitely check it out. Now, my number 6 game of the year is another handheld game, and it did rank higher than Resident Evil Revelations. And the reason why that is because it is a 2012 8-bit release, Mutant Mudds. Mutant Mudds is an eShop title for Nintendo 3DS, which is also available on iOS and soon to be released as of this recording for the Wii U. Now this game is intended to be a love letter to the gamers of the 8-bit era of gaming. The game is at its purest a platformer. You do get very little upgrades, about 3 to 4 upgrades throughout the whole game. Now if you're a gamer that loves to have a collecting aspect built into its platformers, this is the game for you. Donkey Kong 64, Rayman Origins, New Super Mario Bros. All these games, if you beat them without collecting 100% of the items, you feel like you rushed through these games. And this game delivers on that. In order for you to see the true ending intended for the player, you have to collect every single diamond coin in this game. I'm calling them diamond coins, I don't know what they are in this game, honestly. And although the game is difficult, in this game it's more about patience. Knowing when to jump, it's actually more effective than just rushing through the level, with the exception of you memorizing the level, that is. Mutant Mudds is a game it looks beautiful on the XL, it looks awesome on the regular 3DS, and I cannot wait to see how it looks on the Wii U. Mutant Mudds Nintendo 3DS, also available on iOS and soon to be released on the Wii U. As of this recording, I did have to bump a game out of this list. And I did have to replace it with a game that, although I have not completed, I did clock in about 20 hours or so, maybe even more. 2 separate characters, but this is a game which I think everyone's beaten so far. Borderlands 2. What can I say about this game that everyone doesn't already know? The story did, although in my opinion it is not great, it is not a great story. Compared to the first one, it did make leaps and bounds. It has become more of a comedic shooter at this point. And Tina is the greatest video game character of all time. Anyone who's gotten to the part where you meet her, Ash, you are awesome. The game is known to have a ton of parodies. There's a part where you actually fight creepers from Minecraft. And there's actually a part where it parodies the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Right there, it is a pure win. Now, this game has an excessive amount of content. And most importantly, the fun factor in this game just skyrockets to the point where you can't stop playing. Once you start playing this game, once you start leveling, once you start picking up weapons, killing enemies, playing the co-op, doing a bunch of side quests, looting, everything in this game, it's just addicting. And this is the reason why we play games. It is addicting and it is awesome. It is fun. It is something that you want to do because it is fun. Borderlands 2. There's a reason why this made my top 5 games of the year, and it's because it's awesome and most importantly, fun as hell. I'm sure that the list that I've created and the order that I've created in is unlike anyone else's. No Mass Effect 3, no PlayStation All-Stars. I don't think PlayStation All-Stars is making anyone's list, honestly. Now, number 4 game is Transformers: Fall of Cybertron. The sequel to War on Cybertron. I'm gonna be completely frank with you guys, I did not play much of that game. When the demo was available on Xbox Live, I did download it and I was not impressed. Not only that, but I did also play an available demo at Best Buy, and I also wasn't impressed with the single player. And I don't know, at 60, I was a little bit worried. I didn't want to buy it, especially during that year. We did see a lot of games like Red Dead Redemption, Alan Wake, and Mario Galaxies 2, especially the awesome Monster Hunter Tribe. Now this sequel I decided to jump into because I heard a lot of great things about War on Cybertron, but the price wasn't reduced enough for me to justify that purchase. Now this game I bought day 1, and within a couple of days it was completed. This game is awesome. If you are a fan of Transformers, you need to get this game ASAP. This game has so many nods to the old series and even the movie that came out in the 80s, the animated movie. From Starscream's coronation to the You Got the Touch theme song, this game has it all for true Transformers fans. I don't know who Metroplex is, but he's fucking awesome too. And now, me personally, I have not played much of the multiplayer. I maybe clocked in about maybe 3-4 hours. Good friends of mine here on YouTube, such as Point Blank Games and Angel Nexus, they did clock in 20, 30, 40 hours into the multiplayer. And if they say the multiplayer is good, I believe them. Now, the game is rather on the short side. It took me about 8 or so hours to beat the game. Unfortunately, though, there's no in-game clock to actually show you how many hours it took to beat. But I'm going by how the game felt, and it was satisfying. And there actually is some incentive to the game to encourage you to play it more, such as the weapon upgrade system. When you max out these weapons by getting this currency that the enemies drop when you destroy them, that allows you to upgrade them to make them into powerhouses, and it's just awesome. These weapons feel powerful, and that's what's awesome about the game. It feels like you're progressing through the game. Even when you're playing through on hard, you feel like you're getting stronger in the game. Fall of Cybertron is a game that totally surprised me. I thought I was going to rank it about a 7 out of 10, and it did rank about a 9 for me. And this is a game that I can just go back to and play any day and not be bored. My number 3 game is a game that I feel very strongly towards. This is a game where I beat and I decided to make a video review face-to-face vlog style with you guys because of how awesome and how impactful the ending was to me. And I'm talking about Spec Ops: The Line. Spec Ops: The Line is a game that I did not see coming. I played the demo, I thought it was generic. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys there as well. I thought that the shooting mechanics weren't great. I thought that the graphics were ugly. I thought the characters were boring. And for some reason, I saw the review on IGN. I saw that they ranked it an 8 out of 10, and I decided to just go ahead and buy it. Now, I did buy the game the same day as The Amazing Spider-Man for the Xbox 360, and I was actually looking forward to playing Spider-Man more than this game. And I'll say this much. Till this day, I have not beaten Spider-Man, and I've beaten Spec Ops: The Line 3 times. The story in this game drew me in so much, and the scenarios that the game puts you through. I know it sounds like I'm in the bandwagon here, but it made me think. It made me wonder what these soldiers were thinking. What was going through their minds as they were seeing this? And if you guys seen the ending, you guys, one way or another, you guys were probably mind-fucked. Because I honestly did not see that coming at all. The characters, they started to hate each other. It started to get to the point where they did not want to cooperate with each other. Now the graphics themselves, they're not great. Alright, now it does run on the Unreal Engine, but the game just doesn't pack the punch that Gears of War 3 has. But the level designs are awesome. The art direction is awesome. The scenery that you have in the game, the environments that you're in. For a military shooter, I haven't been in environments like that at all, if I'm not mistaken. Now there's parts in the game where you feel like you're going mentally insane. They're being driven off the cliff. These guys are not mentally there, and to see that they're continuing their mission and that they're continuing to do killing is the most fucked up shit. You have to play this game. Again, words are not enough to describe this game, and I'm gonna leave it at that. Get this game now, and I promise you, especially if you're a fan of story, you will PM me and tell me, Zero, this game is fucking awesome. I said it 2 times, I'll say it again. Words don't describe this game. This is my number 3 game of the year. Let's move on to number 2. Now, it was a hard choice between number 2 and number 1. Alright, it's always a difficult choice because what is it that makes these 2 games different? What gives this game the edge over the other? You get me? Well, I'll say this. Number 2 and number 1, although number 1 is ranked higher, this is a game which I cannot recommend anymore for RPG lovers, especially if you love a deep combat system. Dragon's Dogma. I played the demo to Dragon's Dogma and completely fell in love. I did not like the clutter on the screen, a whole bunch of words, a whole bunch of text, a whole bunch of numbers, for absolutely no reason, but thankfully Capcom gave us a choice to turn that off. Now, I also did make a lot of complaints about this game during my gameplay videos, and also during my impressions of the game, where I felt like there was too much running. There's no fast traveling unless you get further into the game or do New Game Plus. I also feel like there's not much outside of running for transportation. The only thing you can do is run, honestly. Run, 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 run. You want to get from point A to point B, you have to run. I didn't like that very much. And that's where Dragon's Dogma has its biggest flaws. And when you put that to the side, Dragon's Dogma at its core is an amazing action RPG. So much customization, the battle system, the combat, every strike that you make against an enemy, it connects and you feel it. The amount of class customization, how you can mix and match different classes, and how you can have different types of abilities, and you can hire party members from your friends list. What game does that? I had Angel Nexus's character with me the whole way through, and vice versa. The dungeons in this game are not easy. You go through a dungeon and if you don't save, you are screwed, my friend. You have to traverse these dungeons and these maps with caution. And the boss battles in this game is unlike anything I've seen before. When you battle these other bosses in action RPGs, I feel like Dragon Dogma destroys the competition. And that's why Dragon's Dogma is so awesome. An 80-hour quest with tons of side quests, tons of customization, tons of options, tons of incentive to continue playing the game. The optional dungeon, the optional dragon that you have to beat, which is impossible, and if you did kill that beast, kudos to you. And that's where Dragon's Dogma has its biggest strengths. Options, content, progression, customization. This game packs so much for $60. And you can buy it as of this recording for a reduced price. Amazing. You guys gotta get this game. Now this game did rank a bit higher than Dragon's Dogma. It's not as long as Dragon's Dogma or say Borderlands 2, but it did impact me in a way where immediately after completing this game, it was Game of the Year instantly. I couldn't see a game surpassing this. Assassin's Creed 3. I hated Revelations. I hated Brotherhood. I hated Assassin's Creed 1, but I loved 2. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Now a lot of people hate Connor. Alright? They hate him. He whines. He always goes against his mentor. He always questions everything. He wants to kill his father because of what he did for burning down his village and killing his mother. And there's also other people within the Templars group that he wants to murder as well. He wants justification. And the thing with Connor is when it gets to that point, he starts to question everything. It starts to make him into, say, a bad assassin, okay? And that's where the game has some of its problems. I don't feel like an assassin when I'm playing this game. I feel like it's more of an action game. The stealth portions are poor. Now there's certain parts in the game that forces you to eavesdrop on certain conversations. And this is about, I want to say, maybe at most 5 to 6 missions throughout the entire game that you're forced to do in order to progress through the story. And, you know, if you don't do these missions exactly like you're supposed to, as the game requires you to, the game will end in failure. There are also other segments in the game that did piss me off, such as the chase sequences. This being the 5th game in the series, I would assume that they would get all these things ironed out, especially since all these mechanics were used in previous entries. Aside from all these minor problems, from the beginning of the game, I was blown away. I was drawn in, even during its shortcomings, even during the parts where it felt like it was dragging. I wanted to continue to see Connor's story. And although Connor as an assassin isn't the best, especially compared to Altair or Ezio, as a character, I see Ezio as the best character within the franchise. I see Connor as a character who was forced to become an assassin for revenge. He didn't want to become an assassin. He wasn't born into the heritage like the other characters were either. He became an assassin for revenge. And as he continues to go through his journey, he starts to question the reason for the creed, The Creed is basically dismantled. They don't exist in this game. The graphics, the naval battles, the missions, the variety in the missions in this game is the reason why I kept coming back for more. I felt like it was never the same thing. There's a part where you're in prison and you're breaking out just like in The Witcher. There's a part where you're on the boat and you're just shooting out other boats like it's twisted metal in the water. There's parts in the game where you're on a treetop and you throw this dagger rope at a guy and hang him upside down like a Batman villain. There's parts where you're invading other ships like you're a pirate. You guys need to get this game, especially since it's an Ubisoft title. You know it's gonna drop in price. You know it's going to. There you have it, guys, my top 10 games of 2012. Now, I do want to take a minute to thank all my viewers for supporting me. I know that I don't have the best track record here on YouTube. There's times where I'm away for a couple of months and then I come back and give you a bunch of videos here and there, so I'm pretty sporadic here on YouTube. But I'd still like to thank you for supporting my channel and supporting my videos by subscribing, commenting, and liking the videos, and even sharing them with other people. And I love 2012 as a gaming year, and I'm actually looking forward to 2013 even more. And it immediately starts with no rest. You know, we already had Far Cry 3 in December, and it immediately starts in January with Anarchy Reigns and DMC, all for Xbox 360 and PS3 and even PC. So if you guys want to see more videos, continue to support me. I really appreciate it. And if you did like the video, be sure to share it, like, comment, even subscribe to the channel if you're new here. And again, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Enjoy the rest of the year, guys. Peace.